Brought to you by Penguin.
Putin's Prisoner. My Time as a Prisoner of War in Ukraine by Aiden Aslin with John Sweeney. Read by Paul Slag.
Forward. Vlad Demchenko, Ukrainian Special Forces, Bakhmut, May 2023. One of the most dramatic videos showing the horror of Russia's war against Ukraine appeared on the internet in the spring of 2022. An unknown Briton took a selfie in the ruins of the Illich steelworks in Mariupol, saying that his Ukrainian army commanders had given the order to surrender after weeks of being surrounded, their food and ammo gone. The Briton was Aiden Aslin, and he behaved very bravely, but his eyes looked into a dark and uncertain future. A few days later, in another video, Aiden appeared with a smashed-up face, testifying to unknown people. The Russians turned his fate into a perverted reality show, satisfying the needs of their audience for bloody revenge. They sentenced him to death. The Russian newspapers were cock-a-hoop, savouring Aiden's anxiety, his fears about execution. They made him sing the Russian national anthem, and this video of his humiliation was shared far and wide. But what happens in Russia or Russian-occupied Ukraine when the camera is turned off? This is not just a question that arises when you see a video like the one made by Aiden in Russian captivity. It is the only question. You do know that if I'm taken prisoner, I will tell everything right away. I'm just warning you guys. That's what a friend told me while we were preparing to go to war. It was a joke, but our laughter had a nervous edge to it. Captivity is scary. Before battle, you think about what might happen to you. For us, it is more terrible to be captured than to die a quick death, especially when you are captured by the Russians. During this bloody war, a war that has been going on since 2014, I have had to watch several Russian videos of interrogations with people I knew personally. A guy I studied with at school looked into the camera. He was scared and told how he was forced to sit in an army tank, that the Ukrainian commanders had deceived and threatened him, that Ukrainian commanders were sending people to be slaughtered, that Ukraine was oppressing the Russian language. I saw how a burnt, injured neighbour of my grandmother proudly and courageously answered the questioning of Russian propagandists. But more often, people break. I have heard how cruel they were to the Ukrainian writer Stanislav Asayev in a Donetsk concentration camp. I know what a black dolphin is. The prisoner's head bent low, his arms handcuffed behind his back, so that movement is agony. I have listened to a speech by a therapist working with young Ukrainian soldiers who, captured by the Russians, have been castrated. Therefore, before battle, for my friends and I, capture is considered worse than death. If I have to admit that the Russians have some special talent inherent in their nation, it is the ability to equip prisons and torture chambers. Ukrainians at a subconscious level know this, and therefore it is impossible to find a person in our country who is capable of condemning a prisoner for collaborating with the executioners. Being heroic in a Russian prison can only be imagined by someone who does not have the slightest chance of ending up in one. Someone who saved himself after such humiliation, torture, and daily fear of death is a heroic character for me. It is painful to listen to and read their stories, but it is also necessary because reality always requires a direct and strong look. You have to look a predator in the eye, and modern Russia is obviously a bloody and unprincipled predator. Read Aiden's book.
Chapter 1. Funtopia. One of our guys doing guard watch, Popeye, has his radio with him, and the call comes through. Vozduk! Air raid! I continue smoking my borrowed pipe, looking like Gandalf waiting for the bomb. Whoosh! It sounds kind of fun, but the reality is anything but. We hear a muffled bang.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?